What is the largest city in the United States?
If I told you to go to hell, it's a good thing.
How could that be a good thing?
Well, you'll find out.
This is season 7 of Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. Listen, laugh, and learn.
Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Roy, and we scoured the internet this week and other sources to find out this information just for you.
Plus, we'll answer your question in the mailbag segment and in the news. He robbed a bank for how much?
Totally useless information. It's everything you never needed to know.
Throw away your totally useless GPS. It's time for geography. So get lost with Nick and Roy.
First of all, Happy New Year. Let's hope 2023 is a great year and with totally useless information.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Also, I want to bring something up because it's New Year's, and we have to thank on our show. We have some people that really put a lot of time into stuff. And I want to say a special thank you to Elaine for doing all that she does.
Whatever she does. All that she does, whatever it is that she does. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She has no job title because we don't know actually what she really does, but
Thank you for doing what you do, whatever it is that you do.
whatever it is that you do. No, she's great. She really
Awesome.
is great.
I concur. So many years ago in the Bronx, I grew up in the Bronx. Roy grew up in the Bronx and then moved to Florida. I moved to Toronto, Canada. And I lived on the Grand Concourse.
Originally, right?
The Grand Concourse, yes, it was designed by Louis Aloy Reese, an immigrant from Lorraine, France. Reese, I think it's how you pronounce his name. It's Reese, I don't know. He first conceived of the road in 1890, and the concourse was built between 1894 and 1909, with additional extension in 1927. Now, the development of the concourse led to the construction of apartment buildings, which is where I lived, surrounding the boulevard. And by 1939, it was called the Park Avenue of middle-class Bronx residents.
Yeah. He said, "You stupid Americans, you will call it the concourse. I am French. I am pompous. I will call it the Grand Concourse."
It is grand. Yes, it was.
Oh, my God. The northernmost point of Ireland, Northern Ireland, that's what it's called, Northern Ireland, right?
Okay.
It's not the northernmost point. It's wrong.
What?
Yes. There's a northernmost point of Ireland. It's called the Inishowen Peninsula, Banabas Crown. Now, of course, it's a very long name because I guess the Irish were drinking a lot and didn't know where it was, so they made the name very long so they could sober up by the time they finish it. No, that's not. Irish people are cool.
They are.
So, but the northernmost point is much more north than Northern Ireland. And of course, it's called, like I said, Inishowen Peninsula, Banabas Crown.
Well, it's just like asking how south is South Dakota.
Yeah.
Nuts to you. No, not you, but you. A town in Washington has a tree.
First, you tell me to go to hell. Now you say nuts to you.
Yeah.
What side of the bed did you wake up on?
Well, it is a new year after all. I'm turning a new leaf, a new maple leaf. No. I told you, in my teaser, which is coming up next, by the way, it's a good thing. It's a very good thing. All right. So, nuts to you. There's a town in Washington that has a treetop bridge over a very busy road that's big enough for squirrels. That's it. Just squirrels. And
where is this?
A town in Washington. They won't disclose where it is for obvious reasons.
The state of Washington in the United States.
That's correct.
They're all smoking pot there, Nick. That's why they made the squirrel thing. It looked cool. Look at the little squirrels.
But the
Let's
name
make a toll.
a toll road. But here's
You want to go? 2 nuts, 2 acorns.
2 nuts, no waiting. But here's the name. But the name of the bridge is the Nutty Narrows Bridge.
Oh, no.
Yes.
I love that. See, folks, this is the type of nonsense that you learn on this show.
Listen,
But you
laugh,
gotta
and learn.
sit
Yeah.
back- Yeah, you got to sit back and go, is that for real?
Yep.
China is huge.
Yes.
Chinese men, not so much.
Wow.
Listen, I've already insulted the Irish, the French, and now the Chinese. I'm on a roll. We're only like 2 things in.
Stay tuned.
But
Will.
China is huge.
Mhm.
But listen to this. The westernmost point of China is closer to Germany.
I thought you were going to say it's closest to the northern tip of Ireland.
No, listen, it's closer to Germany than it is to the easternmost point of China.
Really? Oh.
That's how big China is. The westernmost point is closer to Europe and Germany, which is the middle of Europe, than it is to the easternmost point of China. Pretty cool.
It is. All right, here's my teaser. I'm not going to tease you anymore. Go to hell. There's a village in southern Norway called Hell. It's
So you go there. You go to hell.
Exactly, go to hell. It is named after the overhanging cliff caves in the area. Hell means luck in Norwegian, and it's one of the coldest places to survive on Earth, with temperature as low as minus 25 degrees Celsius. So yes, every winter it does freeze over.
So the Norwegians do go to hell.
That's right. And hell freezes over every winter.
And they think it's lucky.
That's right.
The word hell is lucky. The Norwegians are screwed up.
Go
They're
to-
almost as screwed up as the Irish, the French, and the Chinese.
Go.
Four down, 64 to go.
That's right. Well, right now we're currently as of this broadcast, currently 66 country and counting down.
Now, I am not objecting to saying bad things about any country or any group of people,
Right.
and that includes the United States,
Right.
who voted for Joe Biden.
Right.
That's enough said. Okay, my teaser.
Yes.
What is the largest city in the United States?
Los
New
An-
York, Los Angeles,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
No.
it's Sitka, Alaska.
Who?
Sitka, Alaska,
Alaska.
not Idaho. Idaho, Alaska.
Sure.
It's Sitka, Alaska. 10,000 people. That's all that live there, but it's the largest state in the United States. Oh, and by the way, the second is not New York or LA. It's Juneau, Alaska. Second largest state in the United
You
States.
mean city. You mean city. You said state.
City. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
city.
Yes,
Excuse
but
me,
you
I'm
see,
sorry.
because it's so big, it's like a state, but it's really a city.
And of course, the largest state is Alaska. But
Right.
go ahead. We think
Okay.
we think it's Texas,
Yeah,
but it's
okay.
Alaska.
How about some dirty trash talk? In the sweetest.
You already did that. You told me to go to hell.
No, there's more. There's more, man. Boy, I'm really,
Uh-oh.
I'm really starting off 2023 with a real bang, aren't I? The sweetest city of Malmo is talking dirty, so and it takes it to a whole new level in its latest effort to clean up the streets. They've installed talking garbage cans that dish out racy audio messages for being fed trash, and authorities are hoping for an increase in rubbish being deposited. Pedestrians that drop trash in one of the 2 bins in the city's bridge, and it's not the Nutty Bridge or whatever it was in Washington, those who drop into one of the 2 bins are rewarded with extremely positive feedback in a sultry female voice who offers a range of responses. And of course, because of the research that we do here on Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy, here's what it sounds like after you deposit some garbage in one of the city's bins.
Tack.
No.
Precis där, ja. Lite mer till vänster nästa gång.
Oh my God. The
That's
Swedes are out of their mind.
That's right. They go,
I've insulted 4 countries so far. But you know how you insult the Swedish?
how?
You buy a Volvo. You got to be a moron.
So could you imagine though? So you intentionally put garbage in there so you can hear, oh yeah, right there, yes, a little bit more to the left next time. Wow.
Yeah. That's with a Volvo, the new Volvo. You get in, it says, please stick the key in this slot. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Put in the key.
Oh,
New York. New York is big.
how big is it?
Not as big as China or Juneau or Alaska, but New York. New York is big.
Yeah.
But did you know it's so big in population that in population, not landmass, population, sheer population,
Okay.
42 buildings in New York. Now, we spoke about the Empire State Building having its own zip code.
Right.
There are 42 buildings. The Empire State Building, the MetLife Building, the Woolworths Building, and the Chrysler Building are just some. There are 42 buildings that have their own zip code.
I worked at 30 Rockefeller Plaza years ago, as some of you may know or not know. It had its own zip code, 10112. 30 Rockefeller Plaza is the only building in New York that has 10112, one of 42 buildings, as you mentioned, that have their own
For
zip
those
code.
of you that don't know, Nick worked for NBC at that time,
Right.
which at the time NBC was a real news network.
Listen, they were sued years ago, or they sued the NBC, the National Biscuit Company, and guess who won? The Peacock
They
did.
Yeah, the Peacock did.
You're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. Thank you for joining us. We hope you had a very, very joyful and wonderful holiday season. And if you're hungover, man, from New Year's, we'll talk nice and slow.
Yeah. And if your head is in the toilet, then just put it on pause and finish.
Listen, it has great stereo sound.
Welcome to the Totally Useless Information Fashion Show.
Great acoustics in the bathroom, isn't there?
Oh, yeah.
That's why
I heard you sing in the shower.
I was going to say that's why most people sing in the shower, and also a car is also a great place to sing because of the.
That's how
acoustics.
Nick got thrown out of most of the gyms that he went to.
What a doll! Up until the start of the 19th century, models were not used to showcase garments. No. Fashion companies would use dolls instead. It was cheaper.
Right, as smart, and so they didn't use live people.
No, they used dolls.
It's just so much smarter. You just travel to the place, set it up. People can walk over and touch it. I think it's so much better.
But you know what? But when you really think about it, based on how the models like make themselves up these days, I think the models today have as much plastic that the dolls did years ago.
Maybe more.
Yeah.
And they run up and down the runway so fast. How do you see the clothes? The dolls, at least you can walk over and touch it. In fact, I got thrown out of a fashion show by feeling up a mannequin.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but realizing afterwards it wasn't a mannequin.
I thought it was a garbage receptacle.
That's right. It was a garbage receptacle, and it went.
Åh, precis där ja.
Oh.
That's exactly what happened. No. Fashion Week, it started in New York
Right.
in 1943 during the war.
Oh.
Because World War II stopped the French fashions from reaching the United States, the U.S. designers said, we can't lose all this money. So they got together and created a showcase for an entire week called Fashion Week, which then after the war, the French picked up on it, the Italians in Milan, and so on and so on. I think there's like 20 different fashion weeks now in different countries.
There are. Now, this is a great segue. This was not going to be my next fact, but I'm going to make this a segue because it's very similar. So my next, the topic I'm going to tell you next is about fashion shows. The most prominent fashion weeks, as you mentioned, were held in fashion capitals of the world. But my fact is this. So there's your fact about it all started in New York. The fashion weeks start and in chronological order go through New York, then London, then Milan, then Paris, or otherwise known as the Big Four. So you talked about fashion shows, but my fact is in chronological order. It starts in New York, goes to London, then Milan, and then Paris.
Wow.
Yeah.
How old is cotton? We use cotton for clothing, right?
Sure.
We use cotton for a lot of things.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we're here, right? The indigenous River Valley civilization, civilization started using cotton, we believe, in 3000 BC.
Wow.
Before Christ. Yep.
Wow.
So like when we think back like, oh, wow, before Christ is really old. These people are running around with like leaves on their privates, you know?
Yeah.
No, they had clothes. They had cotton clothes, you know?
They had
pretty cool.
They had cotton fig leaves. They were like the first artificial plants.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried that with a fig leaf one time, but
Yeah.
it just kept going up in the air. And,
Yeah.
you know, Didn't cover anything.
Yeah. It also fanned the flames. Hold on to your hats, or hold your hats, rather. Japanese warriors wore their hair up in a small ponytail after shaving the front of their heads. And you're thinking, this is stylish, right? Well, no.
Yep.
In contrast to the man bun of today, have you ever had a man bun?
Yes, I did actually. I don't know if you call it a man bun, but I had a big tail. You know, I had a rubber band in it. It was very long,
Yeah.
very stylish, Nick. You know,
Yeah, I know. I
Yep.
remember that. I remember grade 5.
Nick had a ponytail, but his was actually on a pony.
That's right. Exactly. The only way I can get a ponytail. Yes, I am follically challenged, and if I point my head northwest, I reach Australia. So Japanese warriors wore their hair up. I don't even know what that means, but Japanese warriors wore their hair up in a small ponytail after shaving the front of their heads. This wasn't just for fashion. It helped their helmets stay secure on their heads.
Yeah, sure. Probably made it smoother in the front to put a helmet on.
That's right. Smooth in the front and the tail in the back.
I thought for years Nick was wearing a helmet, but I was wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Mary Phelps in the early 1900s was going to a dance class. She was probably a wealthy woman, and she wanted extra breast support because she jumped around doing all these plies and splits and, you know.
Mhm.
So get ready, Nick. Ingenuity kicked in. And Mary sewed 2 handkerchiefs, her husband's handkerchiefs, together and placed them around her breasts and tied them in the back. And thus the modern bra was invented.
Wow.
Mary Phelps invented the bra in, what was the year? The early 1900s. I think it was 1904.
Wow. You know, I heard you flip your page on that. How many lines of content did you have for that one fact? Were you stuffing your papers there? Were you like stuffing the bra information?
For those people that are listening, I'm laid up. My back is really bad.
Yeah.
So I'm not responsible for anything I say for the drugs that I'm on.
Yes. It'll be
Also,
yes.
there's no way for me to turn my pages without lifting it up and flipping it around.
That's right.
So go to hell, Nick.
Why, thank you. That's the nicest thing you've told me this year.
There you go. And buy a Volvo while you're at it.
Lite mer till vänster nästa gång.
You can't get enough of that, you six.
No, I can't.
And I'm on drugs.
That's right. So we will not we won't explain anything that happens here on this show. Not that we ever do anyway. Barbie's, you know, the very famous and iconic Barbie doll, right? The Barbie doll. Barbie's very first outfit. You know, Barbie is the foremost popular doll in the world. You know, she wore a white and black striped swimsuit. Barbie was the brainchild of Ruth Handler in the early 1950s after noticing that her daughter preferred playing with adult women paper dolls rather than the ones representing children. So Ruth realized that there was no real three-dimensional doll equivalent, so she created the Barbie doll. So now if you want to find out what her real name was, if you go back to season 1, Barbie's full name is... I have to go back to season 1 to find out. Or do I tell them now? Should I tell them now?
I don't know. I think we make them. You know, you can go to nickandroy.com.
Yeah.
You can listen to all of our shows.
Okay, you know what?
Tell them.
All right, I'll tell them.
No, make them wait.
No,
Nah,
come
tell
on.
them. Tell them.
Barbie Millicent Roberts is her full name. Barbie Millicent Roberts, and her
Can you imagine, folks, if you do listen to the show,
Yeah.
we give this crazy information, but it is so cool that she had a middle name, too.
She did, and that's when you know why, because when Barbie misbehaved, like when she was like going around with Ken, you know, her mom would say something like, "Barbie Millicent Roberts, get here right now."
Yeah, it makes it stern.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Sneakers,
Yes.
gym shoes, tennis shoes,
Mhm.
so many different names. What do you call them in Canada?
Running shoes.
Really? You
Yeah.
call them running shoes?
Running shoes.
Okay,
Yeah.
see how different it is all over?
Yeah.
In New York, we call them sneakers.
Sneakers. Yeah. Because
Okay, and sneakers was the actual term for them. Okay, and they were invented by Keds in 1917. Keds came out and they invented the sneaker, and of course, it was a super big success right off the bat. So literally about a year later, Converse comes out with their first sneaker. Ked's first sneaker got the name. They were in a room saying, what are we going to call this thing? And somebody that was wearing them came into the room behind somebody and said, don't sneak up on me like that. And thus, sneakers get their name.
Of course, it takes a place like New York, for them to come up with something like that. Sneak up on somebody from beyond. You're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy.
Nick, I hate to interrupt you, even though I do it like 80 times per show.
84, but go on. Who's counting?
Who's counting, right? Listen, you got to go to our website. Not only do we have the birthday messages, which have become so insanely popular, Nick and I, we work all day long.
Thank you.
But we now do anniversaries. So go to nickandroy.com, click on the birthday message. And for a special limited time, if you buy a birthday message or an anniversary message, you will get 12 months of the VIP Totally Useless Information newsletter.
Wait. Hold on. Who authorized this? So wait a minute. If they order a birthday or anniversary message, we're giving them a 12-month subscription to Totally Useless VIP newsletter?
12 issues of the Totally Useless Information. So not only do they get to listen to the show,
right,
but they get insider information,
right,
and they get to speak with us about forming the show, new categories, things that they would want to see, guests that they want us to get, and we're going to listen to the people that listen to us.
You know what? On second thought, I think it's a great idea. So if you go to nickandroy.com/on-birthday/anniversaries right at the top, you'll see all the information about birthday messages, anniversary messages, and the Totally Useless Information VIP newsletter.
I think I just said that.
Einstein was a moron. Newton was a jerk. E equals nothing. It's science, science, science.
That jingle is the most popular, most favorite jingle, according to our listeners. Early on, I think in season 2, we had put out a poll on Facebook or something. Maybe I should do it again for this year because we have so many intros and we have an intro for just about every topic, which is like 16 or 17 different topics. Maybe I should run a poll, but that science jingle was one of the original ones. Yeah.
Do you remember, Nick? We came up with the concept for the show, and then we wanted to do the show. And we wanted it to have some quality to the show. We didn't want it to just be two guys talking and sound quality. We wanted it to be a good show quality.
Right.
So we said we need jingles. So I broke out my little keyboard, and with Nick there in the back, on the phone, I recorded this on an iPhone.
That's right. That's the high tech that we have.
I thought it was funny. And I said, how does that sound? And we used it. That was it.
Yeah, I didn't even clean it up. I mean, that's exactly how it was recorded. And so there you go. So we're talking about science. What do you have in the world of science, you mad scientist?
Blushing, it's blood rushing to our cheeks.
Oh.
It is sometimes embarrassing, right? You get embarrassed, you blush.
Yeah.
But did you know that humans are the only animal capable of blushing?
Really?
No other animal has the blood vessels in their skin the way we do in our cheeks.
You know what?
So,
as you mentioned that, it's getting hot in here. I'm blushing.
So take off all your clothes. I am getting so hot. I'm going to take my clothes. Put the garbage in. So getting hot in here.
Hold on. Where's that lady?
Okay, that's enough. It's a PG show here.
Headphones. How about this? How about some headphones that can cure ear infections? You're thinking, what a great idea, right? So there was a 3M Young Scientist Challenge in San Diego, California, and they had a middle school science competition. So a 14-year-old came up with the idea. Leanne Fan developed the FinSyn headphones, a low-cost headphone device that uses machine learning and blue light therapy to detect and treat middle ear infections in children, potentially preventing up to 60% of hearing loss in children.
What?
Clearly, your headphones are on a little too tight. The incoming high school freshman won a $25,000 cash prize, a special destination trip, and the prestigious title of America's top young scientist. Now, she's planning on using some of her prize money of $25,000 to start the patent process for the headphones. So these headphones can cure ear infections. How ingenious.
Very smart. Very smart little young lady.
Yes.
NASA just came out and said this.
What?
Hello, I work for NASA. No, they just came out and said that the Milky Way galaxy has over 400 billion stars in it. Now, just think of the sheer size that our galaxy, just the one galaxy, there are millions of galaxies, 400 billion stars. Now, that sounds astronomical and crazy until you realize this. The Earth has 3.4 trillion trees on it.
Oh,
It doesn't even sound capable,
no.
but there are 3.04 trillion trees on Earth. The 0.04 trees are probably very small.
Now, it's great that you mentioned NASA because now we all know, allegedly, that Neil Armstrong was the first person to walk on the moon.
Fake news.
But how about this? Do you know who the last man on the moon was?
Oh, hey, this is so great. I heard an interview
Yeah,
with him yesterday,
really?
and he cried. He cried, and they said to him, do you feel like great because you walked on the moon? And he said, I never felt great to walk on the moon. I felt blessed to have the opportunity to walk on the moon. How cool is that?
Well, as part of the Apollo 17 mission, Eugene Cernan and Harrison Schmitt landed on the moon surface on December 11th, 1972. They both walked on the surface, but because Cernan was the last to board the spacecraft after Schmitt, he's officially credited as the last man on the moon. Now,
Yeah.
there's a 2014 documentary about his life entitled The Last Man on the Moon, which is probably what you're talking about or what you watched. Sadly, Cernan, or if his name is how you pronounce his name, he died in 2017, but he is known now as the last man
Too
on
bad
the
he
moon.
died, because I got a little bone to pick with him.
Why?
You know, I go to the zoo or to a park, and there are signs that say, leave it the way you found it. Place your garbage here.
Right. And when you put your garbage there,
Precis där. Ja.
I didn't say that for you to do that.
I
but
know.
It just felt so good.
Yeah.
But it says, leave it the way you found it. Put your garbage here.
Yeah.
Meantime, this guy goes to the moon and leaves a whole bunch of garbage there. In fact, he left a broken down car there and all kinds of crap.
yeah, and CA and the AAA is still trying to figure out where it is.
Yeah. Is he paying the insurance still on that car?
We're not sure.
I'd like to know.
Could you imagine calling AAA or CAA up here in Canada? Hi, I have a broken down car. Okay, where's it located? The third crater on the left on the moon.
Could you imagine the alien that carjacked the car? Got to take the car. Blah, blah, blah.
It blew the horn, went, "Meep, meep." It's like, oh, I have a relative.
Meep, meep. This is my cousin.
Is it my turn or your turn? Whose turn is it? Is it your turn?
I think it's my turn.
Right.
Yeah, it is. Your fruit bowl is radioactive, Nick.
I beg your pardon? Oh, my fruit bowl. Okay, yes?
Yes, your fruit bowl. Your fruit bowl is radioactive.
Yes.
Bananas are loaded with potassium.
Uh-huh.
And potassium, when everything in the universe was radiated, potassium held the radiation. It doesn't give off the radiation the same way, let's say, carbon does. Carbon will shed the radiation very quickly. The potassium stores the radiation. And being that bananas are so full of potassium, you can still find trace radiation from the Big Bang Theory in your banana. Can you imagine that?
Is your banana glowing? Or is it just me? How about if you have gold blood type? Well, it would be awesome if golden blood was actually gold, but it's just the name it was given due to its rarity. The blood type, also known as Rh null, is extremely rare. Golden blood doesn't have any of the 61 possible antigens, which means that it's able to be donated to those with other rare blood types. So it's almost like having like the gold VIP card of blood types. You can donate and receive blood from anybody.
Or just keep it to yourself.
Exactly.
Because I don't give anybody my blood. Okay. Every 4 days. Now, we've talked on this show about the acid in our stomachs.
Yes.
It could eat through like the hood of a car. I mean, it's really super strong. And you say, how the hell does it stay in the stomach without eating through our bodies, right?
Good question.
Well, the stomach lining is very, very strong, but it's not that strong. So every 4 days, your stomach lining replaces itself.
What?
It grows from underneath, and as the acid eats away the layer, there's a brand new layer there, and another one started right behind it. So every 4 days, our stomach lining replaces itself. Folks, tell that one to a friend, and then burp right in their face.
That's right. Burp fire. So we often say, listen, laugh, and learn here on Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. We encourage you to bring some writing implement with you when you're listening to the show, because there'll always be at least one or two items that you hear on the show, and you have to tell somebody, because if you don't write it down, you won't remember it. It's like, some people can tell a great joke, they can remember a joke, but sometimes you can't remember that funny joke because you didn't write it down. I forgot what I was going to say. I should have written this one down.
I don't know either what you were saying.
I should have written it down. No, what we're saying is listen, laugh, and learn. Bring a pen with you. It's the litmus test, really, of your intelligence. In the 14th century, scientists discovered that litmus, which is a mixture of colored organic compounds obtained from lichen, turns red in acid solutions and blue in alkaline solutions, and thus can be used as an acid-base indicator. Centuries later, people began using litmus. People started using litmus tests figuratively. They did that as a litmus test to see if it would pan out, etc. So litmus test was actually a scientific thing it can be used as an acid-base indicator.
I use them every week on my pool.
You do?
You use those?
Your pool.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't hear the L initially. I'm
No,
thinking...
I don't stick it in my pool. I stick it in my pool. Because if I stuck it in my pool, that wouldn't be very nice.
No, it wouldn't.
No, but I use them for my pool. It tells you the pH and the acid, the alkalinity.
There you go.
Awesome.
There you go.
Yeah. So everybody can learn about that. That's cool.
Is it? All right. You're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. We thank you very much for joining us, as 66 other nations have. We're on the iHeartRadio Talk Network, which is coast to coast to coast in Canada. We have 3 coasts here in Canada. And you can also check us out on the website, as we mentioned. Go to nickandroy.com. Check our birthday and anniversary messages. And you can also send us an email by clicking on Contact Us.
What's in the mailbag? What's in the mail?
Nick,
Yes.
people, I don't know if people realize, some people are using it, but we have the voice contact. So you can literally go on our website and leave us like a voicemail. So you don't even have to write it, folks. We've made it so simple for you. And now our mailbag's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And we can only take one per week, one for Nick, one for me.
That's right.
And so we take a lot of the otter one. Otter?
Otter?
Don't
No.
otters make dams?
Otter swims.
It's so funny when you take muscle relaxers.
Yes. It depends on what muscles are relaxed.
Wow. So here's one. Wandi, W-A-N-D-I, Wandi from Cape Town, South Africa.
Oh, okay.
That is so cool. He says, you guys are super hot down here in Africa. And I read that and I was like, wow, that is crazy. And he said, we love your show in Africa. He said, Ak, A-C-H-M-A-N, Achman. And I first read that and he said, well, we first heard your show when I was in Bahabalas. Bahbellas, Balabalas, which means, and I looked it up, it's hungover.
Oh.
When you're Baalabahas in Africa, that means you drank too much the night before. So he was hungover. He said, we first heard your show when I guess he had a hangover and he was home maybe listening to the show. He says, now I've told everyone in my village in Cape Town that they should listen to the show. And I've turned on hundreds of people in Africa You guys are famous in Cape Town.
Yeah,
Cool.
and now they're laughing their Bajas asses off.
Yeah, Wandy, man, Akman, which means yes, like yes, man.
Yes,
You
man.
know.
Well, we're also
Akman.
in one of the 66 countries that were really popular. It's Turks and Caicos. And we mentioned this a few weeks ago, and we're still in the top 20 or something, based on some of the charts. So thank
Turks
you.
and Caicos.
I don't
I've
know.
been there. Have you ever been to Turks
No,
and
I
Caicos?
haven't. I think that's one of my on my bucket list.
I like Turks and Caicos. It's really, really nice. I traveled all around. The only thing is there's wild horses running all over the place.
Oh, well, can't have that.
There's literally wild horses that nobody owns. They just run in the streets.
My email comes from one of my fellow Canadians, Christina from Whistler, BC, a great skiing town, by the way. So if you like some skiing in these winter months, Whistler, BC is one of the great destinations. Christina writes, Dear Nick and Roy, we love listening to your show. We really get a kick out of the information that you may call useless, but we find really interesting. Okay. We're not going to say totally interesting information because no one would listen. They'd be like, yeah, so? So we
Yeah.
tell you totally useless information. You go, hey, that's interesting. So she wants to know, she was wondering if we can help her with something. Okay, there's your first mistake, but thank you. Someone told me that if you ride a really scary ride at Walt Disney World, you can pass kidney stones. Is that true?
Well, I'm a Floridian here, very close to Walt Disney World, so
Yeah.
I would probably be the person to speak to about that.
Have you ever passed a kidney stone when you went on a wild ride at the Walt Disney World?
Well, I passed gas,
That's right. You know,
much to the chagrin of the people riding in the car with me.
that's right. So when they say shotgun, they didn't realize it would go off. So
Yeah, the funny thing was people were taking pictures, and all you saw is this line of cars and then this fireball coming out of the
right,
back of one.
exactly. So
No, I don't think you could pass a kidney stone, Nick.
well, hold on. So I'll answer her question in a moment. But as an aside here, so are you a big fan of roller coasters and big rides, wild rides like that?
I used to like them a lot more than I do now. I've
Yeah.
ridden a lot of them.
Yeah. Now, well, I've never really been a big fan. Like the carousel is really as wild as I get. But and
Nick, I could hardly get out of bed because my back is so bad. You were sticking me on a roller coaster. You're trying to kill me. I'll pass a kidney stone.
yeah,
Where are
exactly.
you going to pass it to, Nick?
So
Where are you
listen,
passing it to? It's
hold
got to
on.
come out someplace.
Wait a minute, hang on. Let me just finish my story. So when those rides, some of the rides have, well, first of all, you have to be this tall to ride, and then they have like these medical conditions. It's like if you have like a heart condition, do not go on this ride. If I go on that ride, I'll develop a heart condition. Thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so let me get right to her answering her question. After multiple people claimed they had passed kidney stones while riding the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad ride, okay, a research team at Michigan State University decided to take a look at the situation in 2016. They conducted the test using a model kidney. They found that there was a 64% successful pass rate for those seated in the rear of the roller coaster. But the number was just 16% for those seated in the front. So it depends on where you sit. Unfortunately, this has only worked at Big Thunder Mountain. We tried Space Mountain and Aerosmith's Rock and Roller Coaster, and both failed. So
Yeah.
the ideal coaster is rough and quick. You know what? Listen, what was her name again? Her name was Christina. Christina.
Christina, drop a stone.
That's right. Exactly. On the show today, we talked about geography. We talked about some fashion. We told people to go to hell, but really liked it. And we talked about science. It's time for the news.
And now, from around the corner and around the world, this is TUI News.
A West Carleton man accused of holding up Fifth Third Bank on Wednesday.
West Carleton, where is that?
That is in, doesn't tell me what the state is. You know, these are, I don't know
All
what
right.
that is.
All right. Well, Fifth Third Bank, probably Ohio, but go ahead. That's a big Ohio bank.
Is it really?
I believe so, yes. Could be Minnesota.
It is Ohio. You're right.
It's Ohio.
Ohio,
Yay!
congratulations. You have an all-expense paid trip to hell.
I got so much money that I know all the banks.
That's right. And you know what? Fifth Third sounds like the amount of interest they give you. After a conversation with a bank teller, he passed her a note that stated, "This is a robbery." The note was handwritten on the back of a deposit slip. So, first of all, this guy's not too bright. He's making a withdrawal, and he put the note on the deposit slip. Okay?
No.
Okay? So, if he's going to do it right, listen, if you're going to hold up a bank and you're going to write your note on a slip, you do it on a withdrawal slip, not a deposit slip. What's the matter with you?
Of course. And you always write, my name is Nick from the Totally Useless Information Show. This way,
That's right. And they'll deposit my ass in jail. So he told the teller.
Exactly.
He told the teller, if you don't know if I'm armed or not, so just push your alarm button. So he told the teller. So first of all, okay, this guy, this genius, wrote a bank robbery note on a deposit slip instead of withdrawal. Then he told the teller whether or not he was armed or not. He told her to push the alarm button. Okay.
No. What's wrong with this guy?
So this guy waited inside the bank and surrendered to police when they arrived.
He wanted to go to jail.
While officers were on the way, the bank security firm reported that they were watching the suspect, later identified as Wilson, on a live video feed.
Yeah, he was in that movie, Castaway.
That's right. and his head was just round as a volleyball. The security staff provided Wilson's description and updated officers on his movements. We were able to make...
They had his description.
Yeah.
White volleyball.
Slightly bruised. We were able to make phone contact with the bank ourselves and got that suspect to come out of the bank without any incident. Police did not find any weapons when they arrested Wilson, so he wasn't armed.
Oh, no.
During a police interview, Wilson said he planned the robbery and had stopped at Chipotle next door to use the restroom because he was nervous.
So he actually went next door to Chipotle to make his real deposit.
No. That's true. So he went to the Chipotle next door to make his deposit, as you put it, because he was nervous. Oh, by the way, the amount of money that he wanted from the bank teller when he said this is like a stick-up, $1.
Oh, no. Okay, so let's get this straight.
Yeah.
Wilson is a homeless guy that wants to get arrested, correct?
I'm not sure if he's homeless. They didn't give an identity.
No. Wilson's a homeless guy that's better off in jail because he gets 3 hots and a cot. Right?
So Wilson is held in the Montgomery County Jail on $25,000 of those dollars on bail.
All right, wait a second. So he wants $1, and they hold him on $25,000 bail.
Right.
Oh, my God.
Exactly.
And Wilson, we know Wilson can't come up with $1 scratched to his name. And he's definitely not going to make bail.
No, he's not. So the poor guy, what did you say, 3 hots and a cot?
He's not. Wilson's right now. Those of you in Canada, you don't realize what happens here in the United States. Our jails are now like country clubs.
Exactly.
Wilson's watching cable TV. He's getting 3 hot meals. He's complaining about his pillow, that it's not orthopedically proper.
Yeah.
Okay, he's got non-allergenic blankets. He works out 3 times a day. He has a library, and he has nothing to complain about. And all because he did a stick-up on a bank. That's the most ridiculous thing. Thank God it's not Florida.
No, it's
People
not.
from Ohio are nuttier than Florida.
Oh, this just in, he used to live in Florida. No, just kidding. That's all the time that we have for this week's episode of Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. Thank you very much for joining us. We will scour the internet and many other sources to gather totally useless information just for you.
And we like to think that every week we deposit this useless information into your brain. So tell all of your friends, go to nickandroy.com. Tell all of your friends to go to nickandroy.com and listen to every episode, guys. There's some really great, funny episodes. And some of them you just get to hear Nick talking on and on and on.
Yeah, exactly. And this is some of the reactions from the listeners.
Lite mer till vänster nästa gång.
I'm Nick.
Oh my God, and I'm going to dump some garbage. I'm Roy.
Thanks for listening.
Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy is a production of nickandroy.com. Visit nickandroy.com to access the full library of episodes or wherever you get your podcasts.